Hello, this is IsilmeCosplay, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how I do my makeup for Chris from Until Dawn. So to start on Chris's makeup, I always start with my base makeup, so it's always started with a primer, and then my foundation, concealer, and then some sort of setting powder. Today I'm using e.l.f., Ben Nye, and L'Oreal products for the most part. I am also using a few LA Colors things and a few Wet n Wild things, so just simple stuff that you can get from the dollar store, or just something that you have to order online if it's my stage makeup. But anyway, we're just going to kind of skip through the face makeup because most people know how to do that. I move right to eyebrows. So for Chris's eyebrows, my hair is dark brown, but Chris is blonde. Therefore, I usually use the lightest brown I can find after blotting out my eyebrows as much as I can with the foundation that I'm wearing. So for his eyebrows, I take a thin brush, and with that brush, I will go along my natural eyebrow. I usually do this in a few short strokes just to make it look more natural and more hair-like with the powder. But usually I try to darken it just enough that it's noticeable over my glasses. Since Chris wears very large black glasses, I make sure that the eyebrow that I do is also going to be noticeable over it. And I thicken it because his eyebrow is a little bit thicker than my own, but he does not have too dark of an eyebrow. So after you actually do both of your eyebrows, I usually move on to my contour. So here you can see that I've done one half of my face on a contour and I've done both of my eyebrows. So for my contour, I typically go in and just kind of trace along my natural cheekbone for Chris because he has very baby-faced features, which I also have. My cheeks are a little bit chubbier and they're not as defined. So typically I just do a really, really light contour along my natural facial bone structure just to make sure that it's a little bit more prominent, little more masculine. So I'll usually do my cheekbones and then I will go underneath my chin just to make everything look a little bit darker and a little more shadowed. And then I also take that small brush again and I will go up to my temples and draw a little triangle. Then I will blend that triangle out with my powder brush. Okay, and once you have all that blended out, you can move on to your nose. So I usually start at the middle of my eyebrow and move it down in a thin line along the side of my nose. I do have a very large nose, so I don't have to do a whole lot, but I usually darken it a lot once it gets closer to the eye because I have a high arch of my eyebrows, so I usually make sure that I can bring that down a little bit closer to my eye because Chris's eyebrows are not super high. But for a lad, I have very, very high eyebrows. But this doesn't take too terribly long. And once you have all of that blended out, you can move on to your bruise. So Chris's bruise is on the left side of his face. It's from getting hit by Josh. So I typically try to make this look as realistic as I can, but also very defined and very dark. So I always start with a red cream makeup and a thin brush, that same thin brush that I've been using most of this time. I usually use little jerky motions just to kind of brush the red along my forehead. By doing this, it gives me a little bit more definition because some of the areas are going to be a lot darker than other areas, and it'll also make it look more like a bruise has begun. And it also makes it easier for when you're actually trying to build up from something. So I always start with the red and just kind of work that in the shape that I want the bruise to be in, and then I'll continue going over it with more red and more red until I kind of have like just a little area of like red that looks like it almost is like a bloodied bruise. Then I'll also blend in a little bit of a brown cream into that while mixing it in with the red and just kind of drag it out a little bit. So this will give it more of that realistic look. If you want to, you can go in with some yellow as well, just like really lightly along the edges of the bruise. Go in with some yellow and mix it in with the brown. So after I get that little portion done, I'll go in with some powder. I use Texas Dirt powder from Moran. Mine's actually ordered from artawigs.com. So with that, I will take my small brush again and just kind of run it into the powder and then bring that along any of the open spaces that are still left on the bruise. I'll blend these into the red. It just gives it a little bit more of a dirty look. So, you've been running through the woods trying to fight wendigos, get away from the wendigos, and survive. So, obviously, you don't want a clean bruise. You want it to look dirty and kind of nasty. So, I always go in with that dark brown dirt powder and try to make it look like it has a little bit of dirt mixed into it. Alrighty. Then once I have that done, I take a powder brush and I wipe off any of the excess dirt powder just to make it look a little bit more finished, and just so then when I actually use my setting spray, which I'm not going to do this time, but typically I'll use a setting spray, I'll use those and it'll make it look clean and more finished, but also make it still look like I've been running around the woods all night trying to save my life. Okay, and now I'm going to slip the wig on. I usually take a little bit longer to put my wigs on than most people would expect because I typically pull it on, make sure everything fits right, and then I'll usually pin it almost in multiple areas. With my wig, I usually just kind of use my fingers and brush everything to the side just to make sure that the bruise is very noticeable, but also still a little bit covered by his fringe. Alrighty, then once you actually have your wig on, you are pretty much set to go. All you have to do is throw your glasses on and you are ready to go out and cosplay as Chris. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope that it was helpful in some way. I'm really sorry for the low quality of it. But if you guys did enjoy it, please like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys have something that you would like to see next, please leave a comment in the comment section below and we'll try to get to whatever tutorials that you guys would like to see. But we'll see you guys in the next video. So for now, bye bye!